everyone, welcome back to the Food Binder. Today I will be making honey butter biscuits. The first thing we're going to do is combine the salt, baking powder, baking soda, flour, and butter in a food processor. Also, for making these biscuits, cube and freeze the butter so that it won't soften as you work with the dough. After that is in the food processor, close the lid and pulse the mixture until the butter is pea-sized. If you don't have a food processor, you can just use a large bowl and a pastry cutter or your hands to break up the butter into the flour mixture. So now you should see the lumps of butter in the flour mixture. Now I transferred everything into a large bowl and I'm mixing in the honey. After that, I started to incorporate the cold buttermilk with a fork. The buttermilk has been poured in, dump all the contents onto a cutting board or a clean work surface. The dough will be very dry and crumbly, but just try your best to pat it into a square with a thickness of 1 inch. At this point, I also used a bench or dough scraper to help compress everything together. Then I cut it into 4 equal parts and stack them on top of each other. Again, everything will be very crumbly, but keep trying your best to press everything together. And I recommend mixing the dough more than I did when the buttermilk was added in so that it won't be as difficult to work with. But you have to make sure not to overwork the dough or the biscuits will come out tough instead of tender. Now I pressed everything together again and rolled it into another 1 inch thick square. Then cut a 4x3 grid so that you will have 12 biscuits. Also, these biscuits are squares instead of the traditional circle shape so that you don't have to rework the dough. Here I placed each biscuit on a parchment-lined baking sheet, then brushed the tops with melted butter. After they finished baking, I brushed them with a honey butter glaze, then sprinkled on some flaky salt. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this week's video, and if you did, feel free to give it a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and again, the full recipe will be in the description box below.